All right, so a little comparison video. Got the 2750 Adamas and the 570-1 Presidio 2. But for comparison's sake, I pulled up numbers for the manual version, not the automatic. So let's start with that one. So it is we'll just call it the 275 Adamas, $292 it looks like online. Overall length of 8.93, blade length of 3.82. Let's look at this action. This is a 3-year-old knife, 3 fire seasons. I don't know if I got the whole thing in there. 3 fire seasons. Yes, well anyway, it's got a hell of a good action. All right. Blade thickness of 1400s. CPM crew wear. Jeff Siebert. I think it's Jeff Siebert. Design. Obviously a genius. HRC of 63 to 65 on that crew wear. Handle length 5.2 inches. Handle thickness is 6300s. G10. Yeah, let's take a look at that G10. G10's got some pretty cool structure to it. I don't know if that's really going to come out too well, but it's got this jimping I'm not too huge of a fan of, honestly. But it works, if that's what you want. And a weight of 6.45 ounces. Fairly heavy. All right, so the 570-1 Presidio 2. CF Elite handles. I don't think I've done a video. I'm pretty sure I haven't, because I just bought this here in the last month or so. S30V. And I think this was a Mel Pardue model. I mean, you know, it's got a lot of similarities to like a Griptilian, I think. So $180 for the CF Elite one. I think the aluminum ones are discontinued except for the auto versions. The auto versions all come with serrated edges, so keep that in mind. Blade length 3.72, overall 8.72. 1200s for the thickness on the blade. And it's got that swedge. You can see. Very nice grind though, very high grind. Very slicey. 58 to 60 Rockwell for that S30V. Handle length of 5.0. Handle thickness of 6300, so about the same as that Adamas. Okay, where was I? CF Elite and 4.97 ounces, so pretty light, really. I mean, it feels extremely light to me. It's kind of like, if you're a fan of the Griptilian, you'll be a definite fan of this one. And it's got a blasted surface here, which I really like. So it's kind of like stone washed underneath, and I think probably satin on those flats, those minimal flats, but then blasted over the top of it. I dig it. So yeah, I've had this for a couple weeks, but I have had a Presidio for a long time, so lots of use. But I figured I'd pick this one up too. So the reason why I decided to do this video today was I just found out, or saw online here within the last week, Benchmade has a new knife out. I was like, whoa, that sounds exciting. A PSK folding knife, personal survival knife, I think is what they call it. And I'm thinking, sweet. I look at them like, oh, okay. So it's got that particular knife, the PSK, has a 3.5-inch blade. And it's assisted opening, not manual, and not automatic. I like automatics. I like all automatics. I like out the front. Such as what the hell is this thing called? The Infidel. And I also like side opening automatics, such as my buddy here. I'm on a rock, so I'm trying to find a place to put it. And then I also like the auto axis. It's okay too. No problem. No issues with that. I dig it. But assisted, I don't really own any. I don't plan on owning any, and I don't see how an assisted opening knife is really going to fall into a survival knife classification. I don't get it. And those knives have a 3.5-inch blade. They just don't make much sense to me. And they retail or go online for $360 for G10 and over $400 for the carbon fiber, respectively. And I can't remember the name of that new steel that they're using, but you know, it's like super stainless, holds a good edge, and tough, right? So I don't think it's as tough as Crewware. And to be honest, I've never had any rusting issues on the edge, and these knives they don't get very well taken care of. And this one, on this summer, so I carry this one every day, and you know, I also carry that every day. But this one, pretty much every day, I eat an orange. I peel an orange with this, and I have not detected any kind of rust or spotting on that edge whatsoever. So there's that. I'm not saying it wouldn't rust if it didn't have coating on it. It might. S30V, it's definitely classified as a stainless steel, holds a good edge. This one is actually pretty darn easy to sharpen. I use Spyderco or stones. Just stones, no diamond, no chromium boron or whatever it's called. But this one, I'm not saying that these are hard to sharpen, but it seems like there's a little bit more time in the S30V. I haven't even sharpened or touched this one up yet. And I haven't sharpened this all summer, and this is pretty much what I use every day, all day. It gets the most use. So that new knife, the PSK, kind of a disappointment in my opinion. If anybody owns one or wants to comment or is looking to pick one up, go ahead and leave a comment for sure. But if somebody is looking for a field survival type knife, these are two suggestions of mine. Probably I'd go with this one. This is lighter weight. It's a little slicier. It is not an automatic, though all my numbers for the manual for that. This one though, I think when you're doing a lot of high torque cutting, you do a little bit of hot spot, you have to kind of move back on it, and then you're okay. But it's not quite as comfortable as this. This one is very nice, and I think it's just kind of like a bigger version of a grip tilling. Really better cutting geometry, bigger blade. I think if you're kind of after a field knife, 3.5 inches is okay. 3 3/4 to 4 is best, I think, in my opinion, for folding knife. And then, this is about 3 5/8. It works too. This one just has a serrated edge, so it doesn't see a lot of that type of use. And just price wise, $180 if you can find these. I don't know if they're discontinued. Where I saw they were out of stock, it didn't say anything about being discontinued, but that'd be my choice. And this is number 2. Now the other one is a Crooked River, which between this and the Crooked River would be a coin flip. Honestly, hard to say for me personally. They're both great, both very comfortable, good ergonomics, good blade steel, both S30V, about the same length of blade. I think the Crooked River is a bit longer. It's got a clip point on it. This one probably really has better cutting geometry, and the handle on the Crooked River is more like this. It has that palm swell, whereas this is what I'd consider like, you wouldn't really call it a broomstick handle, but it's more neutral. No palm swell, no finger grooves, none of that stuff. I think I'm getting crept up on by a bird or something. And of course the palm swell on this. So I mean the ergos on this are great too as well. And that PSK looks like it does have that kind of a palm swell like this. So I don't know. I didn't want this to be a rant video about that, but if you tell me that you my favorite knife company, which is Benchmade, is coming out with a personal survival knife, a folder. Maybe it makes sense because if it's smaller, probably more prone to carry it, though I carry that every day. Maybe it's a little lighter weight, but it actually isn't. It's 5+ ounces for both. I think the carbon fiber one is only 1/10 of an ounce less, as I recall when I looked the numbers up. But if you're looking for a field knife, folder, Benchmade, you want a Benchmade, you want a folder, snag one of these. Because I think those Crooked Rivers are high 200s. I'm not saying it's not worth it. I think it, probably is. Pay once, cry once, something like that. Buy once, cry once. It's a good knife, one of my favorites. But this one's a little cheaper, definitely a little bit lighter weight, I think, even than the Crooked River. And then this one is great, just more of a beast, a little heavier. Still going to get the job done. Actually, for how big and beefy of a knife this really is, it really does not have that thick of a blade stock. And the cutting geometry is fantastic. It's kind of hard to get in this light. It's a little bit lower of a grind coming from the flats, but I mean, it's still, for carving wood and doing that kind of thing, cuts great. Slicing food. I mean, I peel oranges with this. I mean, you can peel apples, you can slice apples. No problem. Some people are a little bit more finicky about that. Some like this is good too, but probably not even as good as that. And this is a good slicer. The new and improved AFO2s are actually better. A little taller of a blade, a little higher of a grind. Probably a little bit thinner behind the edge as far as blade stock or grind is. Yeah, I think that's all I got for now. Hopefully I made my point, if I have one. I think my point is, avoid that marketing mumbo jumbo from Benchmade on that PSK. I don't know how much marketing they've done on it. I've seen a couple things. I'm just not impressed. Benchmade, my favorite knife company, but obviously they're not designing knives for me specifically. As long as they keep making stuff like this, though, I'll be happy. All right, have a good one.